your colleagues in the press?
How I'm received by the press?
Yes.
Or the press specifically at the Pentagon?
Yes, specifically the Pentagon press.
I'm
Or
an
the
item,
press generally.
Sure, I'll take the second half of the question first because it's easier. I'm an item of curiosity for the press and generally received pretty well by them. But most reporters travel the world and they know what Al Jazeera really is and what it isn't. And I don't think it's as difficult for them. Now, the military, probably 2 years ago, the majority of the people in the Pentagon thought Al Jazeera was the problem, and they were going to be as obstructionist as possible toward anyone involved with Al Jazeera, including me, even when I was in uniform. Now, that group has become the minority. Now you have leadership from the Pentagon that says our assumptions must not have been right because we have not gotten to where we thought we were going to be, so it's time to question those assumptions. Al Jazeera, like it or not, could be a part of the solution, and they're very happy to engage with Al Jazeera. I mean, just today I saw a senior officer on I bet every week there are senior military officers on Al Jazeera English now. I can't say for Al Jazeera Arabic because I don't get to watch it as much. I'm always watching our network, but I know on our network they always engage. But the weird part is, the schizophrenic part about it is, if I'm calling the Pentagon for a story or the base for a story, I never quite know what I'm going to get, right? So I call and say, hey, I'm from Al Jazeera, and the guy's like, oh, forget it, I'm not talking to you, and hangs up the phone. Well, if it's a progressive officer, a progressive public affairs officer who says, we've got to engage with Al Jazeera, this is really important, they'll hunt me down on vacation to make sure I know about a possible story. So I think most reporters find Pentagon spokespeople helpful if they call them. For me, I find them either they hate me or they absolutely love me, but there's nothing in between. But this latter group that's really growing now, many of them think that they have to be engaged with Al Jazeera, and I'm probably the safest way to dip your toes in Al Jazeera waters. So they want to engage me regularly. I don't actually hang out with the Pentagon much, though, as part of the regular press corps, because I travel so much and the stories I do are so long. I find myself either on the road or working to put together a half-hour documentary. I have no journalism background, and I never did a 90-second story like most journalists do for most of their career. So it's been a really steep learning curve for me in the last year, and at the same time I've had a baby and written a book. So I've been too busy to be at the Pentagon too much. Yes, sir.
I've been watching. I have watched Al Jazeera regularly, probably on the internet.
Arabic or English?
English.
English, sure.
I don't speak Arabic. I just want to, first of all, say that for 90% of the stories, it seems like a very useful news, a very credible news organization. But there are occasions where, for example, early on there was a filming of a graduation ceremony of the insurgents in Iraq. And they also showed the training process for those insurgents before they got their graduation. And they showed people being mock kidnapped, practice of kidnapping. The guy raised his hands, people coming out, practicing an ambush. And the words on the narrative from Al Jazeera were not neutral. They were praising of this situation. Another example is on the website for Al Jazeera English. I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago. It had a video where you could click on it and see the video. And the video was of Humvees being blown up. The caption above the video was Mujahideen, positive killing Americans. And the video in the background was Allah Akbar and that kind of thing. So I just want to get your...
Hold on to the mic, because I'm going to ask you some questions about that. I think something is... I watch Al Jazeera English all day, every day. It's on my desk. The website you went to, was it... Do you remember if it was aljazeera.com?
I'm really uncertain there, but it's obviously in English in order for me to read the words.
Aljazeera.com is in English, and it's the largest source of misinformation about Al Jazeera in the world. If you go and check it out tonight, and you see that's the site you were on, go to the About Us link, and it says they have nothing to do with the Al Jazeera networks. This is something that I didn't know even when I was thinking about working there. I had a friend call me when I said I was thinking about taking a job there, and he said, you should check out their website, aljazeera.com, before you do. And this was in spring of 2005, so I did, and the website said that the U.S. had caused a tsunami in the Pacific with nukes. That Rumsfeld was busy planning a second set of attacks because 9/11 went so well for him. And in the column, when it was okay to beat your wife, according to the Quran. I called and said I couldn't work for you. And they said, why? And I told them, and they said, oh, wait, here's the deal. Al Jazeera, as Heidi said in the introduction, means the island or the peninsula in Arabic. The reason they call this network the peninsula is because the nation of Qatar is a peninsula. But it's a very common word in the Middle East. There is an Al Jazeera airline, taxi cabs, dry cleaners, restaurants, grocery stores. So, when Al Jazeera sued over the name, and they did sue over the name in the Intellectual Property Court of Geneva, they lost because, one, the name is so common, and two, this website had the name first, going back to a small magazine basically by 1993, when the Al Jazeera network wasn't founded until 1996. So, considering they had the name first, that it's a common word, they got to keep it, but they had to create the About Us page to create the distinction. I will bet my job that you won't see a video on Al Jazeera that says Allah Akbar on top of it, or Mujahideen, unless that's integrated into the video's news. Now, if Al Jazeera got a hold of a tape that shows the training, I've seen that video just recently, but I saw it on The Daily Show, which was pretty comical, about the graduating, it was a graduating class of terrorists, and I think that Jon Stewart said, no, it had Jon Stewart at the podium giving the speech, and it was like a real bomb. That's not fun. It was a real, a downer. So, but that's where I saw that video. I'm not sure that was Al Jazeera original video, or if that was some video sent to Al Jazeera, but that has a news value. And just from a military guy's perspective, it has an intelligence value too. And I have no problem seeing that video aired. It brings up an interesting question though, because Al Jazeera used to get these tapes. Al Jazeera Arabic. They don't anymore. They go out on the internet now, and Al Jazeera will show them off the internet just as Western media will. But Al Jazeera would get the tapes from Al-Qaeda, from Bin Laden. That's what they were kind of first known for. The reason they got the tapes is the exact same reason that the New York Times got the Unabomber's manifesto. The exact same reason that NBC got Cho's videos and writings, the Virginia Tech killer. It's because these media outlets are the voice of credibility. It's what people read, it's what people watch. Well, across the Arabic world, Al Jazeera is the voice of credibility, and it's what people watch. So that's why they sent the tapes there. But Al-Qaeda was frustrated because Al Jazeera won't show every tape, and they don't show all of the tape, but they do show it. They, like any news organization, clip out what's newsworthy and show that. Then the Western news channels do the same thing, but here's how they lead the story. They lead it with, this happened on Fox News, CNN, NBC. They go, Al Jazeera showed another Al-Qaeda tape, let's see it. And then they show the exact same tape that Al Jazeera showed. But they didn't lead with Al-Qaeda came out with a tape today. They lead with Al Jazeera showed another Al-Qaeda tape today, as if that's a caveat, as if it's okay for NBC to show that now because Al Jazeera showed it, rather than just saying Al-Qaeda came out with a tape. Al Jazeera isn't always the first one to get the tapes or to show the tapes. ABC gets tapes from someone in Orange County that claims to be part of Al-Qaeda, and they've shown those tapes. The first distributor of Al-Qaeda tapes in America was Colin Powell, the State Department. U.S. Marines recovered tapes in Kandahar in 2001 that proved Osama knew about 9/11 before it happened. And they took those tapes, gave them to the State Department, distributed them to the American media, which showed them because it supported the U.S. case. So there is actually a bit of professional jealousy in the fact that Al Jazeera gets those tapes. If the U.S. station gets them, they show them as well. But like I said, Al Jazeera doesn't really get them exclusively anymore. But I will say, in all frankness, I think 90% of the stories are good. I think they do miss the mark sometimes, though. I think I've probably done stories that are too soft on the military when I've been with them because I have a sympathetic spot in my heart for them. I think I've seen stories I know that are loaded from the other side. But I would challenge any news organization to honestly look at what they do and say they haven't missed the mark sometimes. Anyone? I'm happy to answer.
I will get to you.
Something? Is the mic on?